From deception. This is Truth Frequency Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Friday edition of the Paranormal Portal. I'm your host, Brent Thomas. I am thrilled you are here. Thanks for being here. Hope you had a fantastic week. It's now over. You've made it. You're in the weekend. Relax. The hard stuff is done. Unless you got a crappy weekend ahead, and then, nothing we can do about that. But, it's supposed to be good. If you're doing it right, it's supposed to be nice and relaxing. So I hope your weekend is nice and relaxing. It's snowing here again, but I think we're on the tail end. It's just a little light, fluffy crap, so I guess I can deal with this kind of snow. If it's going to snow, that's I guess manageable. So, but this is the Paranormal Portal, and I am Brent Thomas, your host, and this is our Friday edition. So as it's the Friday edition, it's just me, which is okay. I hope that's all right with you guys. But Don, of course, will be joining me tomorrow on the Portal as usual. And we will be having a special guest, Dan Pruitt, paranormal investigator, joining us tomorrow night. So hope you guys tune in then. Same time, 10 p.m. Pacific, whatever time it is where you are. Of course, you have to adjust your clocks accordingly to that. But yeah, should be a good show. I'm really looking forward to that. I've had the pleasure of talking to Dan briefly on the phone and had a nice short discussion, and I can tell he's going to be quite interesting and a lot of insight into a lot of tools and things that are used in ghost hunting, and so, or I should say paranormal investigating. I hate ghost hunting. I hate that term because it's like you gotta bag one, you got a trophy room of ghosts. What the hell is that? So, paranormal investigator, I guess I should call it. But anyway, he's going to be on the show tomorrow, and so we're looking forward to that. And again, ladies and gentlemen, make sure to mark your calendars for next Friday. Deb Varner, our resident psychic here in the Paranormal Portal, will be joining us and doing free readings to callers to the show. So she's done a great job. A lot of people have really adored Deb and have adored the readings she's given. And one thing about her, too, that I don't know if I've mentioned to any of you new listeners is that she's also, this is a woman who doesn't charge anything for her gifts. She does it out of the goodness of her heart because she wants to help, but she also extends herself to people that call in during the show. If you need more, or if you didn't get on the show or want to have more of a private reading, she extends herself to get a hold of her on Facebook as well. And of course, we'll give out the information for that on Friday's show, but really looking forward to that. It's been a while since Deb's been on. We usually have her on about every month, but with all the weird moons and everything going on, it's just been strange, to say the least. And she, of course, reminded me that March is going to have 2 moons as well. So 2 full moons, which is, it's got me a little nervous because the whole January 2nd full moon just about sent me to the moon. I was just zonked. I was hit by something just bizarre. I've never experienced anything like it before. I've never had any kind of reaction to the moon before. I just have never noticed any kind of change, really. It's just usually just another night in my life. But whatever it was with the super blue blood, moon thing that was on January 31st, man, it really screwed me up. So hoping that the second full moon in March won't have the same effect. I'm hoping. I don't know. It could have just been a quirky thing. Could have been just a weird biorhythm and had nothing to do with it. But it was just such a weird night. And of course, Don has attested to the fact that it was a weird night for him as well. And just strangeness all over the board. So, but that'll be next Friday. She'll be on, which is going to be a great show. And then, of course, Saturday, we will be welcoming Jim King, otherwise known as the Bear, who is one of the nation's foremost Bigfoot researchers, and just a phenomenal man. I've just loved talking to him when I've had the chance, and it's really cool because he's actually one of my heroes. He's one of the people that I turn to when I need, information. And not that I've always talked to him. I've only had the pleasure of talking to him once in person, or on the phone rather. But it was just a phenomenal conversation. But I've listened to his shows, and if you've listened to him interviewed, I'm here to tell you, that's the guy he is. It's not just him just putting on some kind of showmanship. That's just the guy he is. He's just that real cool, down to earth, real mellow, pleasant, nice guy that you could just talk to for hours. And we did, as it turned out. So I'm really looking forward to having him on the show and hearing what he's got to say and what he's got to share with us. But definitely tune in. That'll be next Saturday night here on the Portal, a week from tomorrow. Not this next one, but a week from tomorrow on March 3rd. The Bear will be joining us. So if you're into the Bigfoots, if that's your thing, and it's definitely one of my things. It's one of my favorite paranormal phenomena. And I don't think it's actually probably as much paranormal as it is just uncatalogued, undiscovered for the most part. I mean, people have discovered it, but it's not recognized. Although I was looking through some paranormal news, and I did find out that there are a couple lawsuits on the books in California, as a matter of fact, where people are suing California to recognize it as an actual creature. And I don't know what's going to happen with any of those, if they're going to make any headway or not, but I do know that Russia and France have put it on their endangered species list, so they must feel there's something to it. And I know that there are some states that have actually set aside regulations in regards to hunters seeing them not to shoot them. So apparently it's enough of a phenomenon. If you're kind of on the fence about it, at least you have to get, to acknowledge that it's enough of a phenomena that they felt it necessary to at least make those statements where they did. So it's not as if it's, gremlins in the cupboard, where it's easily dismissed, or, easily dismissed like the whole fae. A lot of people just scoff at the idea of a phenomenon such as the wee folk, the fae, or, gnomes or what have you. So that'll be next Saturday. It'll be a lot of fun. So I don't know. It's just been a really exciting time. So if you haven't already, ladies and gentlemen, please head over to our YouTube page, youtube.com/paranormal portal. And we are simulcasting, or I am simulcasting the show currently on YouTube, as well as on tfrlive.com, iHeart, TuneIn, and TalkStream. So we're all over the map today. And for the last few weeks anyway, the last several weeks we've been doing this, or more. I guess I don't know how long we've been actually simulcasting it. But it's been working good. Everything's going well. So I just want you to know we are here. But there's about 3,000 of you out there listening to us. So excellent. Glad you guys are here on TuneIn, iHeart, and tfrlive.com. So thank you guys for being here. And I'm just looking to see what's going on. We got quite a few over in the YouTube chat room as well, or a few. There's a few. I see T-Fetch is in there. The Ratman 1 is in there. D Swagger is in there, and that's all I can see so far. So if you're in the the YouTube chat room and I didn't announce you, just let me know. But if you would like to call in and be a part of the show, of course, that's always an option. The call-in number is 213-233-3998. Again, 213-233-3998. Or if you're in the UK or over in that neck of the woods, it's 44203-393-2871. Again, 44203-393-2871. So those are the options to getting in touch with the show. I think after one of the breaks, Ken, one of our listeners, Ken from Australia, was actually called in on our Wednesday stream. He submitted a story that I will read. I think it'll be probably after the hour break, but we'll see how it all breaks down. But I'll read it definitely before the end of the night. Ken says, I won't call in tonight, Brent, because I'm getting too known. Yeah, no worries, brother. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. If we got a good connection, it all works out pretty reasonably. But it's easier on the Wednesday stream anyway, because now I'm dialed into about 3 other connections, which I wouldn't have been on Wednesday. So it makes me more tentative to roll the dice and have a call in on Skype. So I'd prefer it was on Wednesday, so you call in anyway. Because if it goes sideways now, it's all kinds of problems. But if it goes sideways on Wednesday, it's not too bad. So tonight we're going to discuss the Ouija boards. And we're going to talk about the phenomena of the Ouija board. And I know that people either have, it's a very divisive opinion of the Ouija board. There's the camp of people that go, oh, it's BS. There's nothing to it. It's just a bunch of people subliminally moving the planchette, and there's nothing. It's just goofy. I've touched them a bunch of times, never had anything happen. Then there's the people that say, don't touch them, stay away from them. That's a sure way to get possessed, And in the middle there are a few people that understand that essentially you have to consider that spiritual tools, even the Ouija board, even though it's mass produced by Parker Brothers or whoever makes it, it is an oracle. And here's the thing with Ouija boards. Hey, Lady Death, she made it in. Good to see you. Any kind of oracle is going to function in direct relation with the energy of your belief. And I can't be more direct than to tell you that. If you believe the Ouija board is a bunch of bunk and you put your hands on it, chances are you're not going to have much of an experience, if anything. Even if some people on there do believe it, or if it's half and half, you're probably not going to have much go on, because there's just too much of a block to any kind of flow of energy. Now, with any kind of oracle, you have to understand this board, and whether it's wood, plastic, paper, if you make your own, if you bought it in a box at Target or whatever, whatever form you get this board, it is just the materials that make it. And it's no more intrinsically dangerous than a doormat, than a Homer Simpson placemat for your plate to fit on, or whatever, It is in its truest sense. These things don't come to you charged. They don't come to you with just by virtue of having a specific printing on them. They don't come to you with I just saw what D. Swiger said. That's pretty funny. I'll mention it in just a second. But they don't come to you with the door already able to open. Essentially, with any kind of oracle, with any kind of tool that you use to channel, and it's the same for tarot. It's the same for any number of different oracles, pendulum, what have you. If you do any kind of mirror scrying, or if you do liquid scrying or fire scrying or whatever, in and of themselves, they are not intrinsically powerful, but it's the belief of the users that gives them the ability to make connections. So the problem that I have with Ouija boards, and this more than other things, and I'm going to get into a little bit of a discussion here about this, because I think it's important to cover. First of all, there are those people that also say, well, a Ouija board is no different from using a voice recorder to catch EVPs, or a camera to catch apparitions. And I would disagree with that. And the reason why is because the difference with trying to get in touch with a spirit with a voice recorder or a camera versus a Ouija board is that the spirits can manipulate those objects on their own, the camera and the recorder. They can manipulate those things all by themselves by just shifting energy. How they do it, I don't know. But there's so many documented cases of spirits screwing with electronics, turning on TVs, radios that aren't plugged in, turning on fans, blowing and circulating air when they aren't plugged in. So there's so many cases of electronic phenomena where spirits have directly interacted with that to show a presence. So they've demonstrated that they have no problem manipulating those objects and could therefore make their voice recorded on there without you. They don't need you as a part of the equation. Now, with the camera, same thing. They can imprint an image of themselves on the CMOS sensor or film or whatever by virtue of their energetic makeup. However, with the Ouija board, you are a blind channel. You are creating a connection, and you are asking things to come through you in your interaction with this board to spell out messages. So there's the difference, ladies and gentlemen, is that you become the medium by which the spirit communicates, whether it's borrowing your energy enough to move the planchette, or whether it's working with you on a subconscious level and you're subconsciously moving the planchette. Whatever you believe, it doesn't matter how you believe it works. But at any regard, you're already inviting something through you into interact with you on a physical level in order to relay a message. So you're a blind channel. Now with EVPs, any kind of detection equipment or oracles, whenever you create the channel, then you're also a blind channel. In other words, you don't know what you're getting. It's like calling a phone booth in a bus station. You don't know who's going to answer. You have no idea. It could be, the millionaire who just came through and wants to write you a check, or it could be the serial killer that's really interested in why that phone's ringing. You don't know. So it's a blind channel. Now, with things like this also, they can be, and as I said, they're just tools. They're not inherently powerful in and of themselves. So some people think that by virtue of just having a Ouija board that's never been used in a box in your house, you're subjecting yourself to negative energies. That couldn't be more untrue. That's, it's like I said before, it's no more malevolent than a Homer Simpson placemat for your plate, because it's just a medium with something printed on it. However, with any kind of portal, with any kind of doorway like that, there are specific things that you can do. You're opening a channel, you need to know how to close the channel. Now, that's the biggest mistake a lot of people make, is that they don't know what the hell they're doing anyway. They use this board, they're opening a channel, and they make their connection, and then it's like, okay, I'm done. It said goodbye. We're done. Or the circle it 3 times. The 3 times thing, may be okay in most cases. I don't know, because it's by virtue of doing this repetitive motion that you are creating a closure to it. But using other mediums, like you could, have sage, and ritualistically, however, using whatever ritual you want, whether it's the Lord's Prayer, whether it's a prayer, to whatever religion you happen to observe, or if it's just words of intent. I bind this board to, close the door. I shatter the board. I shatter the connection, and I seal it, with an intention. Then you believe in that. Then that is a way to close the portal. Now, prior to doing the session, I would recommend setting your stage, setting your area that you're going to do this in. And please, I'm not advising anybody to use it. I'm not advising anybody not to use it. I'm just sharing with you guys what knowledge I understand about the subject to hopefully help you to at least make an educated decision on your own. I'm not advocating. I'm not condemning. I'm just sharing information. So I just want to make that clear, because I don't want it ever, to hear, this lady got possessed after she listened to Paranormal Portal because the guy said Ouija boards were cool and okay. And I obviously I'm not saying that. But you can set the stage for using these things. You can sage your room. You can, cleanse it with frankincense, with lavender, with sweetgrass, things like that burning, and crystals and candles and salt barrier and all that stuff to close out the negative. Things like that are options for you to use. In order to set the stage to, at least, if you're going to call if you're going to call the bus depot, in the darkness of the night, at least you're kind of setting the stage that only the good people should be able to answer the phone. So that's my caveat right out of the barrel warning and information. And I don't claim to be an expert. I never claim to be an expert of anything when it comes to the paranormal, but these are considerations. And I think the bottom line is, do not ever use something where you haven't done your homework, Don't play with things. It's like picking up a spell book and suddenly let's try to conjure a demon. It's like, are you sure that's what you want? Is that really what you want to do? Do some research. Figure out what the hell you're playing with. Figure out what people say about it. There are people who claim to be experts out there. Find out what they say about it. I don't believe there are quote-unquote experts, but there are people that are more adept at channeling and doing things like that can give you really good advice. So just do your research, because anytime you open a door, you got to be able to close it. So that's all I'm saying about that. So moving into the show, what we're going to do tonight, that's my background information on it. And again, if you have anything that you want to add, probably the best bet is to call in if you have more information about the Ouija board that you think you'd like to share. And again, the number is 213-233-3998. I'd be happy to hear your thoughts on the subject as well. But I just think it's absolutely disheartening to me. And I've said it on a number of shows that I think it's Parker Brothers that makes it. And I think that it's rated for ages 8 and up. Do not ever get your 8-year-old child a Ouija board. Now you go to your room and summon Grandpa and tell him what you did. It's just like, no, children shouldn't be doing this kind of stuff. So, but anyway, I don't know. I'm sure many kids have played around with these things. I mean, I played around with it when I was a little, young and stuff, but I can't say that anything ever profoundly happened. I'm not sure that anything ever happened, but I was a kid and we were being, stupid or whatever. So, but definitely do your homework, get some background, do some education first. So anyway, but yeah. So this is the show tonight. We're going to be discussing what some people claim to have experienced after using a Ouija board. And you can be the judge. I got about 4 minutes. I think I can read this. One day, me and a friend played with a Ouija board. We both thought nothing of it. We thought it was a bunch of bull. Well, another friend has these 2 boxes, supposedly haunted. Again, bull. We didn't believe any of it. This Hebrew box was shut and sealed with wax. It had bones and ashes in it. Well, we got the 2 boxes, opened them. They were already opened. We didn't break the seal, and placed them beside the board. We both asked it some questions. It spelled out Durnell, who has been locked in one of these boxes since like the early 1500s. It sounds like a Dybbuk box, but I don't know. The planchette began to go crazy from Z to O, like a few hundred times. Oh, the Zozo. This red box would even open without anybody touching it or winding it up. The music was creepy with it opening. We've been doing research on this Zozo demon for a few weeks now. A few nights ago, my friend wakes up around 3 a.m. and the box is playing. Well, I also woke up. My bed is adjacent to this full-length mirror, and it was pitch black, and in the mirror, I had seen a black shadow. I told her about it, and at first she thought it was my reflection. She came and sat on my bed. Okay, it wasn't your reflection. Maybe it was the mannequin's head. I told her it was a full figure. She then ran out of my room and closed her door. She came back to my room and told me a demonic story. She pulled up her tank top. Right there on her left shoulder was a huge bite mark, teeth prints visible. We never touched that board again, especially when we were asking the board questions. It knew us. So I'm trying to see if she was responsible for moving the I around to spell out the middle names. She asked first. It spelled out Falon. She looked at me with her eyes bulging wide. I then asked about my middle name. It spelled out something, and I said, that's not my middle name. It's Lynn. The board then gone crazy, said lies, Lies, nothing but lies. At this point, we decided to end our session, and then 2 more spirits came along, Lily and Zozo. Lily was telling us to stop playing, and her twin sister was coming for us. Lily even told us to run. Lily said her sister was evil, that she was coming after us. We freaked. Later that night, I just got out of the shower, and I heard someone calling my name. I asked my friend if she heard it, and she didn't. I asked my parents if they called me. Nope. So yeah, the Zozo phenomenon's a whole other can of worms. And there are many people who believe it's a derivation of the name Pazuzu, and it could very well be. I don't claim to know a whole lot about demonic lore, but Pazuzu is kind of like the trickster demon or whatever, and the Zozo phenomenon is usually signified by rapid movement of the planchette, very energetic, and rapidly going Z-O, Z-O, or sometimes X-O, X-O, X-O. And there usually is some form of short-term possession involved where somebody will, have some real issues and start freaking out, and it's pretty bizarre. I know there's some versions of that on YouTube, and if you can believe those or not, I don't know. They're out there, though, and in fact, on this YouTube channel, we did a Ouija board, one of our evidence reviews, way back when. Don and I did one of those, and so you can definitely check that out. Just look through the evidence reviews and find the one with the Ouija. I think it's on there. I don't know. Maybe it's not. But I know it was on vid.me, but they shut down, so I got nothing. If it's not there, I'm sorry. But you can definitely find it out on YouTube. Just look for Zozo Phenomena or whatever, and you'll see a bunch of people allegedly freaking out using the Ouija board. And some of them look really, really creepy. So I don't know. What do you think? I don't know. But we're going to go to our first break, ladies and gentlemen, so don't go away. We'll be continuing on after this short break from our sponsors and our parent station, TFR. So we'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen.
Extendivite really works. Just listen to what some people have to say.
Several years ago, I was developing a very severe situation. I called it my flippy heart. It was doing not good things, and I did not want to go to a medical doctor because I just knew they would give me a cover-up pill. I didn't want to get onto that sort of thing at all. When I learned it was garlic and cayenne, and cayenne is a healer. It is a wonderful herb. I said, I think I'm onto something here. I'll tell you, I wouldn't be without it.
Frequency Radio Network.
No hate, no hype, no fear.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Paranormal Portal. I'm Brent Thomas, your host, and tonight we are discussing the Spirit Board, the Ouija board, as they are also known. And the call-in lines are open. I know it can get kind of confusing because when we do our Wednesday stream, of course, we can't offer call-ins because we are not doing it on tfrlive.com, which is the parent station for the show. And they host the call boards for listeners to call in. And so when we do the Wednesday stream, that's just to YouTube, so we're not connected to the network. But we are on Friday, Saturday, so if you can just remember that. But I just got asked in the YouTube chat room, can we call in this show? And it's an absolute yes, and it's 213-233-3998 in the U.S. Otherwise, it's 44203-393-2871. And if you're hearing the sound of my voice and you haven't already, I've just been putting out a post on Facebook today asking for a little bit of help because Don and I have been working real hard to build the YouTube channel and to build the Paranormal Portal and to keep it growing and expanding and stuff. But we definitely need your numbers. We need you guys to head over to youtube.com/paranormal portal if you haven't already, and please subscribe and check out a video or two. We're just trying to get our numbers up so we can turn the next corner on YouTube, and that'll be great. So I'll be very proud of you, and it'll definitely help us out. So if you would please, that'd be great. But head over to youtube.com/paranormal portal and you will make my day. Several people did today, so I appreciate that, guys. Those of you that did, you are wonderful. And if you have already, you are already wonderful. So there's no question about that, ladies and gentlemen. Holy God. Wow. The call board just lit up, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into this and see what's going on here. All right, 310, you are on the air.
Hello, Brent.
Hey, how you doing?
This is Ian.
Ian, how you doing, brother?
Well.
Good.
I'm doing great. One of the things that I was joking about in the YouTube channel chat room was about things that you never hear. George Carlin used to talk about things you never hear, things you never hear in this field. And I can tell you that I've never heard this. I used the Ouija board yesterday and everything got so much better. You never hear that. I was 16 years old the very first time that I actually had to deal with somebody who'd meddled with one. A friend's mother, actually a friend of a friend's mother, who wanted to know if her boyfriend was the one. And actually, it was a mixed blessing. She found out that something else was coming after them. And months went by. The house was dealing with its own bedevilment. It wasn't even funny anymore. So I don't know if it was brought on by the Ouija board, but they definitely got a warning that something was coming.
Sure.
And here's me at the age of 16 being asked by a friend's friend, the person I was telling you about who encountered the Top Hat Lurch, if you remember, on the way through Truckee, Nevada. That's Joel. He asked me if I thought it was possible. Well, I'm 16. There's a thing about 16-year-olds. We all think we're flipping immortal. I thought, I think I know pretty much. I've done plenty of reading. Well, okay, so be careful the doors that you open because something has to close it afterwards. And I would have to say it was probably my face that did most of the work, because when I said this thing, I know it's funny. I try to keep it laughing, because there's something about laughter that makes everybody remember a lesson, especially when it happens to somebody else. I think it was Benjamin Franklin or Mark Twain said, you have your choice of how you learn, your mistakes or others. And I should have learned from other people's mistakes. Anyway.
Sure.
So in getting rid of this thing, I didn't have enough people to be able to do the proper way. And so I took a couple of shortcuts and ended up getting three right arm punches to the face all at once that sent me flying.
Ouch. Oh.
I guess it was a good trade-off, because it worked. But let me tell you, when I landed, I used to take judo. So let me tell you how badly I got hit to not remember how to fall.
Wow.
I was flying through the air, and the next thing I know, I don't even remember which direction I'm going. And I thought I had already landed, so I put my elbows back. Nope, didn't even hit the floor yet. Hurt my neck even worse.
Oh, jeez.
I was walking home, rolling my eyes around to be able to look at people, because I couldn't turn my head. I might as well put the neck brace on me.
Thanks.
And so I have my opinion pretty well set on what a Ouija board is good for. I wouldn't say it was even good for wiping up if you ran out of toilet paper in the wild. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And my friend Joel has the same opinion, because this thing pounded on the house.
Oh.
This was a standalone house near what used to be RFK Memorial Hospital in the city of Hawthorne. And when we first came in, it made itself known by banging on things. And it was only afterwards that I found out that the Ouija board was actually used. And so up to that point, I thought, well, isn't that just a stupid game? I didn't know that this had been.
Yikes.
But once again, it comes back to, things you never hear. Like, I went for a jog to the graveyard, and man, all these nice, friendly things followed me home, and we all played cards until dawn.
Yeah.
No, it's up there. It's up there with things I usually just don't touch, or I tell people don't touch, or
yeah.
And true, it's maybe mass produced by Parker Brothers, but then it more depends on the people who are actually using it. The very first time I actually watched anybody astrally while they were actually channeling something, you watch as their energy just gets siphoned through the planchette, through the board, and then it disappears. Mm-hmm. Where I don't know. It leaves this plane at right angles from what I can read, or at least at the time. Now I'm more experienced. Had I done so, I probably would have been able to follow it. But I usually, as I said, would recommend nobody ever touch the darn thing. Right. And as for, you were saying something about Pazuzu. Pazuzu is the perverter of oaths. Is the what? I'm sorry, you kind of broke up. Since you already named perverter of oaths.
Oh, okay.
You take an oath to the Constitution, an oath to protect, an oath to do no harm. It perverts oaths.
Okay, gotcha.
Basically gets in and changes your mind on it. But at the same time, you think you're still following your previous oath. You just don't know. And there's a lot of Hollywood now that's actually throwing these things out there. That are just actually casually name dropping. Somebody asked me in the chat what the name of the demon was that gave me those 3 right arm punches to the face. I don't share that name.
Yeah.
That one is, Hollywood may have thrown that out there. You mentioned Pazuzu. It's already on the table. I'm not going to say, oh yeah, why not?
No, exactly. And there's the belief that by naming them, you're actually calling them to you as well. So I admire that you're not naming it. I think that's the right call.
Yes, especially since I think this one particularly pissed at me and would not mind actually having another swing.
Yeah, apparently.
I mean, the following day I was walking around with the left side of my face kind of looking pulp, and people thought I'd gotten into a fight and wondered how it was that my glasses hadn't broke, because I used to wear glasses at the time. Uh-huh. And so how did they hit you in the face that hard and not break your glasses? Really? I don't think I'm going to sit down and explain this.
Nah, that's right.
Being an outcast in high school, that would just make it worse.
Yeah, you probably weren't going to convert any true believers there anyway, so you're right. Good call.
And I've seen all of these movies that make it look like it's more dangerous than it actually is too. And I'm not going to be one of the people who say like every time you pick this thing up, it's going to be a deadly connection. And I understand what you were saying. It's more the persons who touch it, but you never know who's got the talent, who has a gift, who has a certain amount of energy enough to be able to activate this, to become the person who's going to be fed on, and they willingly are going into it thinking that it's thrilling, that there's a lot of differences between the Ouija and let's say something else like the tarot. Now the tarot has had a much longer history, and it's based on the idea of following a storyline of a person through their life. That's why the greater arcana actually is all about person going from fool to higher orders of thought, and it all starts all over again. Basically, there's no end to it. It's a cycle.
Sure.
But when you're dealing with the tarot, what you're dealing with is actually something that's an open, with carte blanche for whatever it is. It just takes thinks that it can come through, and as with many shows that I've seen, including let's say rescue mediums, you don't know when you're gifted. I know because if I sit there and I look at you long enough, I can actually see how much of you is going to, it reaches out beyond yourself to the world beyond. Whether you're a nurse or whatever, I can tell you these things. If you ask, I'm not going to volunteer them.
Right.
But in your day-to-day life, you aren't going around knowing that you are able to do anything. In fact, a great many people spend their entire lives having gifts they never manifest and never know until they run into that one accidental thing, or they pick up the item that can talk to them, or a stone or something cursed, or and I have to say cursed actually is a misnomer. Not really cursed so much as got stuff attached to it that's unsavory and doesn't like you.
Sure.
But it sounds better when you say cursed. Or you touch that channel that basically grounds out in you like a lightning bolt. And Ouija seems to be the most common thing people talk about.
Yeah.
And the history of the Ouija is really interesting, since it was originally created, was it like 100-something years ago, as a means of getting people together, as a means of getting people to sit down. I swear, it's a means of getting people to sit down, play together, and meet people. I guess it would be like an old dating service. So there was, it was marketed to couples so that they would, sit down and use the thing together and perhaps find that they liked each other.
Wow.
Right? It's like, oh, you, yes, I'm going to marry you, or hey, we're going to go out on a date. We're going to go dancing, and then we're going to use the Ouija board after. I was surprised at this, and there was I did more reading into it, and a lady on YouTube, her name is Paranormal Scholar, not a friend of mine, don't know her, but actually did a whole video on it, as did a few others, and it was just fascinating to find out that not only was I not incorrect, but this is just a crazy invention, and there are actually people who had lost their minds from believing that the thing was actually telling them something, and I believe killed 1 or 2 people. And this was at the turn of the 20th, the 18th to the 19th to the 20th century.
Yeah. Jeez.
It's ridiculous. It's as bad as I guess. Well, you're basically, people are they look for a thing to blame, like, video games make people violent. No, violence makes people violent. Parents not treating their kids like their kids. Fathers who like to launch their sons across the room head first. That'll make a person violent. But a Ouija board is just an excuse, scapegoat.
It's the.
I guess that was
it's the spiritual version of Tide
the
Pods.
Early 20th century scapegoat. Yeah, so it's the latest craze. People are going to start popping those.
Yeah,
something silly like that.
Absolutely.
And it wasn't. It's not that it was a horrible invention. I'm sure there are people out there that can use it properly, but I've never seen anyone who did use it that didn't actually get drained. And to watch a draining occur, they feel for days afterwards. They don't feel themselves. They say, "I feel different. I felt weird. I felt weak." Fiction from the 17th century said that after a person was exposed to seeing paranormal things, ghostly things, ectoplasm, etc., would be sensitive to light. And that really didn't follow. The more that I would read about it, the less that it actually followed that it was that caused the problem. In fact, as we know now, that many ghosts will drain a person of their energy in order to manifest, especially if they're wraith-like. They will suck as much as they can out to do as much damage as possible. And then, of course, they don't feel themselves. And that is a common complaint with people who actually channeled something through the Ouija.
Yes.
They've just been drained, and seeing bright lights, basically skull-splitting stab through the brain.
Mm-hmm. Very true. Very true. Good points, brother.
Just my 50 cents on the matter. I do apologize if I'm taking up too much time, because I know there's many people waiting to talk.
Well, no, I mean, I love every time any of you guys call and have some input. That to me is just wonderful. So I'll never cut anybody off unless it's just not going anywhere. But you were going somewhere, so you got to stay on. But thanks for calling, brother.
You're welcome. See you next time.
All right, take care. Okay, and now we're moving on to Miss D. Swagger. How you doing?
Hi.
Hey.
It's D again.
I saw that. That's a D.
Otherwise known as, I'm a Diane, or an Ocean, and they call me Ocean the Oracle of Kent, and someday I'll explain why. But
oh, cool.
Anyway, I think maybe I'll make a channel with that name on it or something.
That's a cool name, yeah, for sure.
Maybe that's what I should call my channel. I don't know. But anyway, the thing I wanted to say, I have a lot of thoughts on this. I hope I'm not going to, I'm once again, I guess you can always count on me and Ian, right? To have a thought on these.
That's wonderful.
So you will never be bereft of people calling in as long as we show up. But anyway, yes, I have several thoughts, and like I said, I call Ouija board Internet for Dead guys, because you can't really be sure who you are getting in touch with, and it's really hard to be sure, and also because there are a lot of scams. I mean, it really is a lot like the Internet. It's hard to verify, although it is part of some people's religion.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them actually make the little pieces of paper around Samhain, Halloween, and get the wine glass and talk to their family. But it is a very different thing. They're doing it with a strict intent that they're going to be talking to their family, and they do it under certain circumstances, I guess, and then they don't report problems. However, I have and now call me a conspiracy theorist, because I guess I am, but I really have a funny feeling that getting somebody like Hasbro to manufacture something like a Ouija board was not really an accident.
Sure. Well, yeah.
I really don't believe it was
an
accident. I think maybe somebody wanted that to happen, and I think, I know how this sounds. It sounds very paranoid, but gosh, we're finding all kinds of, just because, it sounds paranoid doesn't mean it might not be true.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of feel like, and especially saying for 8 years and up, anybody who knows 8-year olds, they, a lot of 8-year-olds about that age, 8 to 12.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah, I know. I just question.
Kidding me?
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
Oh, 8-year-olds.
I'm like, and you're like, sure, try this. And every time I ever knew anybody who was around that age, that's when you'd be at a party, a sleepover or something, somebody would say, oh, I know, let's have a seance. But do they ever try to call on anybody good? Oh, no, because we've all been taught that it isn't real, and you shouldn't be scared, and it's all for fun. So let's call up all kinds of spirits of darkness.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good idea.
Well, that
That's
voice
what
is so
kids
high.
do. And if I were a parent, I would be like,
Yeah, I know. I don't
like,
understand the
honest,
logic
it's
at all.
true.
It is. It's and I don't know how they get that angle for it. It's like, who wants their 8-year-old summoning spirits? I mean, and channeling spirits, really?
Right, right. I'm like, are you guys out of your freaking minds?
Yeah.
Well,
apparently.
no, I think that is entirely intentional. I think that there is an agenda with that.
Well, you could be onto something there.
I don't know. I don't know. But I mean, we know that a lot of things have been done to our psyches intentionally to steer us in a certain direction to make us good servants.
Yeah.
According to some people.
Right.
According to some people, we're not saying that's a definite, but that is truth. Then that may be part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, what would be better than having somebody with, that young, with that kind of, just open a portal and maybe make some agreements. And like you said, people could, there have been people who have gotten in touch with people.
I'm sorry, you broke up there.
They have done terrible things.
Gotten in touch with what?
Oh, well, probably because I was talking about something pretty serious. There are people who have actually there have been murders committed on behalf of people getting in touch with spirits.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
So, I mean, all kinds of mayhem.
Yeah.
So I really think that it's something that we need this as maybe a planned thing. And I'm not saying, now, and this is where I disagree slightly with you. Yes, it is just a printed board, and by itself a printed board wouldn't mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
But I almost think, like I said, this might have some forethought behind it. I have actually encountered certain decks of cards that had some forethought.
Yeah, I suppose
They
it's possible.
were, in effect, programmed. That was my feeling before I even took them out. Before I even took them out and looked at them, it's like, there's something about that. There's a weird energy here. Now, we know that things can be programmed, right?
I'm sorry, you're breaking up every once in a while.
I'm sorry. We can encode things into images. I mean,
Oh, right.
On your computer, they have a shop image of your computer, and it, okay. Things can be encoded into images.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder. So I can't prove it. It's a theory. The other thing I wanted to say is my father, and this is probably one of the reasons I became a shaman, shamanic type, eventually. He had been a spiritualist, and he had done the whole 9 yards with the table tipping with his sister and everything, but he very definitely, even as a kid, he very definitely had a problem where he was possessed from time to time. And it was a temper issue. And it was, to me, terrifying at the time, being a kid. And I could see it. I could see it take him over. And we couldn't say anything about it, of course. You didn't dare.
Sure.
And he did all of that, and he spent his whole life trying to get free of it. But I think, and it scared my mother so bad that she wouldn't let him continue to be a spiritualist. She took him. I think it made her real religious. It still followed him around. He was gifted. He had, I got the same thing. A lot of them, I think, because the dreams, the prophetic dreams, and other stuff that he could do. But he did have a problem with it, and I found in the attic. After a few years, I'm cleaning out the attic, and I'm looking around, and sure enough, there's a Ouija board up there.
Oh, there you go.
I burnt the darn thing. Yeah, I burnt the darn thing.
Right.
I wasn't taking any chances.
Sure.
Because I wasn't very old, but then I knew it's like, okay, I haven't heard any good reports from this. And so I just freaking burned it.
Right.
And I didn't want anybody else messing with it, just in case. And say, too, is anytime you get any kind of a portal opening, any portal opening, and I know groups that open portals. That's what they do. There's a woman that goes around. One of my friends had her over that opens portals. You should freaking close them.
Yes, you got to close them.
And I think you're absolutely right.
Yep.
I agree with you.
Well, thank you.
You should absolutely close them, because you do not, once again, an open portal is, you don't know what's going to be, things can use that.
Yep, absolutely.
Depending on who opened it, who leaves it open. And I actually end up being one of the people, being the shamanic type, probably like Dear Ian. He put his 50 cents in. I guess I'm raising him $1. But anyway,
we're going to be heading.
I'm sure we're
going to be heading a break here in just a minute.
Right. I'm just finished.
Okay.
I usually end up being called in to correct these things.
Keeps you in business,
though. I end up having to close the portals. And
all right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our break, and we will be back in just a couple of minutes. So don't go away for more of the Paranormal Portal.
Hi everyone, it's Chris Gio here, founder of True Frequency Radio. It is with the deepest sorrow that I have to inform everyone of the passing of our shaman, teacher, healer, and fellow TFR host, William Whitecrow. William has been our guide throughout this journey, and him and Sue became like the parents we never had. We both learned so much from him, and he was on countless radio shows with us over the last 10 years, even hosting his own program, Quantum Quest. Cherie and I also share a very sacred bond with William, as he performed the Native American wedding ceremony for us on December 21st, 2012, which binded us together. As William was the sole provider, we would like to help out the family by covering the funeral expenses. Please visit tfrlive.com/whitecrow, and you will be redirected to the GoFundMe page. Or you can click on the banner on our front page. Thank you so much for your love and support.
Play their games. Everybody loves to place their bets. They don't understand the price I paid. They don't care to comprehend. Trace their lines upon my body, dripping scars across my heart. Raging anger pours inside me as their lies keep falling apart.
Frequency Radio.
This looks extraordinarily bad.
They linger in a perpetual dream state, a nightmare from which they cannot wake. I can't see you, Mommy! Where are you? I've never sensed anything like it. Carol Ann is not like those she's with. They're attracted to the one thing about her that is different from themselves. Her life force. It is very strong. It gives off its own illumination. It is a light that implies life and memory of love and home and earthly pleasures. Something they desperately desire, but can't have anymore. Right now, she's the closest thing to that.
Poltergeists are usually associated with an individual. Hauntings seem to be connected with an area. A house, usually.
Poltergeist disturbances are of fairly short duration, perhaps a couple of months. Hauntings can go on for years.
And welcome to the second hour of the Paranormal Portal tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We are, of course, going through our evening discussing the Ouija boards, the spirit boards, and getting some feedback from some listeners here. Right now, we're still joined on the phone by D. Swagger, a listener from our YouTube channel. And let me unmute you here. And did you have anything else that you would like to say, ma'am?
Oh, well, thank you very much for letting me speak this long. It's very kind of you. I really just have to say once again, the point is, if you open a portal, you know, a lot of people are into that now. It seems like I hear a lot of it. Please remember to shut it. And remember that you really are, it's true. You really are dealing with something. I think part of the problem is we have been so trained to not really believe in it, to think it's a game. And it's very it's their religion and their tradition. And not only that, but some of us can tell you this is absolutely real. This is not a game. It's not a game.
It's not a game, that's right.
Calling it a game.
Yeah.
Well, calling it a game is very disrespectful to everybody involved, really. And there are some entities that look at a board and go, oh boy, let's follow this around and see who picks it up, who's dumb enough to try and get in touch with something with this. Because if I were an entity that wanted to corrupt somebody, I would say, wow, this is a good way, this is a great tool. I could I could just attach myself to this, and whoever buys it, I can, see how many people I can corrupt with this. I'm not entirely sure that's not possible.
Right.
So, I'm just saying, this is a warning. No, the board itself is Parker Brothers demonic. No, I don't know.
No. Well, I mean,
the board itself is demonic.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't.
Well, yeah,
I don't. I get what you're saying though, and I think you might have a point that maybe there's more of a nefarious purpose behind putting it out there, and that could be. I hadn't considered that. That certainly might be an angle of consideration. But I guess that's great advice. So thank you for calling in, milady. I appreciate it.
That's it. Thanks.
Okay. Well, you have a
Thanks.
good...
Hope that helps somebody. Just.
I think it does. I think those
Okay,
are good.
you too.
Those are good points that you brought up.
I wanted to say one other thing, though. Wait.
Sure.
You have one of the kindest, most balanced ways of saying things.
Oh.
And I want to compliment you on that, because that's really what you need for a show like this, and that's really what we need, because we don't want to inflame anybody, and you really have to be careful how you address these subjects.
Yeah.
And I want to say you do this in a very, very professional way. I really admire you for that.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Love you.
All right, love you too. Thanks for calling in.
Bye-bye.
Very cool. I love it when you guys call in and take part in the show. That to me is my happy place. So, but I know Deb had called in. I know Regla was trying to call in too, but her phone was connecting weirdly. I could see it on my end of the board that it was just like a weird icon next to it, and it like had a phone receiver with an X through it, and I don't know what that means. I'm sorry, Regla. I don't understand why that would occur that way, but clearly the board is working, but it's something to do with I don't know. Maybe try it. Do you have another phone you could try? I don't know. I'd love to hear from you guys, though. So if you want to call and be a part of the show, you're all welcome to. Love to hear your thoughts on this subject. And again, I don't ever pretend to be any kind of expert on this stuff. These are just my thoughts, my reflections, my understandings of the phenomenon as I've come to know them. And I don't pretend that I have to be right either. I love hearing what you guys have to say, and I love the spin you guys put on it. And, you know, my vision for the show when I first started doing this, ladies and gentlemen, was to have, you know, basically a show where it would be about topics and it would be a discussion. And, you know, where listeners would either chime in through chat or through phone or through, you know, whatever means they could to be a part of it. And I do my best to watch. It's really hard to watch the chats and to pay attention to all the things going on. But, I see Regla Girl's called in now. Let's see if we can get her. All right. Regla Girl, you are on the line.
Oh, hi. Thanks.
It worked.
Yeah, I expected it not to work, you know.
Oh.
Yeah, it did.
It's great to hear you.
Anyway, thanks. Great to hear you, too. Yeah, I really loved what that last caller said, how she articulated why it is that she thought that you were such a great voice for these topics. I so wholeheartedly agree. And thanks, Brent.
Thank you.
Do. It's just awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the Ouija board. I'll be brief.
Sure.
And I'll try to not be. Oh, good. I remembered. I'm going to try and do diaphragmatic speaking. I heard Don speak about that once. Diaphragmatic talking. It's right.
Okay.
Somehow I won't be able to remember it. I'm too lazy. So, what I remember about Ouija board was that it came at a time in my life when I was a teenager, and there was lots of paranormal things that had been happening, you know, for years, since the time I was a child.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something about that time, and also I had a group of friends, and they all were interested in it. You know, we used to just talk a lot about that thing. Lots of Irish Catholic culture. I don't know if that's has anything to do with it. Probably not. Probably it's in every culture. But so this thing, Ouija board, you know, was going to be available, I think, you know, for Christmas, of course. And I heard what it was about, and it was like, wow, you know, wow. And then we opened up the box. We opened up the box and saw what a cheap piece of crap that it was. I'm serious. That was my first thought. What a cheap piece of crap. This little plastic fucking thing with some kind of tin. I mean, anybody who had one knows what I'm talking about. So, okay, we played with it, you know. One of the things I really want to say, just want to kind of stop for a minute and say, it's like, if you don't know enough, see, there's sometimes you don't know enough about something to know that you don't know enough about it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Right.
You don't know enough about something to know that you don't know enough about it.
Right.
And this area with the Ouija board, I think, is one of those.
I agree.
That's really basically what I wanted to say. And, jumping again and mention, it was Parker Brothers who made this cheap piece of crap. Because and I also want to say that now this concept of sort of, maybe doing a protection and your intention is to communicate with other conscious life that we can't see, and you're doing it together, and you're taking both people or 3 people or 4 people are taking their hands and laying them on something together. There's something called table tipping. So
right. Yep.
Table tipping is very similar, I think, to Ouija, except the letters on that cheap plastic styrofoam board aren't there.
Yeah.
See where I'm going with this part of it is that it's the practice, it's the form of it, and there are other forms of this kind of thing. And to me, there's just too much evidence about how we move physically in our bodies that I don't place much. I don't think it's a very valid form. That's just my personal opinion.
And you could very well be right.
Too much room for unconscious movement, and intention. But nonetheless, anyway, what I want to say more about the board, the game, the cheapness of it, So in a way, and interesting, as I said that, I realized, so interesting to see how they do things. This is how they roll. So they release this, and everybody goes, wow, ooh. And you're getting an unconscious message as a kid. This is valuable,
Right.
The grown-ups think this is valuable, but yet, look at what it is. They've cheapened it. They've made it a cheap piece of crap. So my point about the table tipping my point unconsciously. See, that's the other message we get. So my point about I wanted to bring up the table tipping is that there are forms of this, that come in, I think, through most cultures, meaning there's a sacred something in the center,
sure,
and an intention. And we have free will to do with that, what we choose to do with that. That's a huge part of this journey, I believe. And so I think that in some cultures there were, say, in place of that board, there were perhaps very beautiful sacred objects that were considered sacred by the group, and things like that.
Right.
And they cheapened it. Cheapened it. Parker Brothers. And so that just tells us something about Parker Brothers. I don't know what it tells you, but it tells you something.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks, Brent.
Oh, anytime.
And I'll let you go.
I always love hearing from you. I'm so glad you're
able
to.
Hi, listeners.
It's always a pleasure.
I will live forever now. Live forever in the portal.
Oh, wonderful.
Thanks.
See you now. Have a great night. That's so cool. I haven't heard from her for a long time, so that was great. And I don't know if Deb's still around. Deb, if you're still around, the call is open. But, this has been wonderful. I love this involvement, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much. I should probably breathe before I try to say a full sentence instead of going like that. I ran out of breath on that. Thank you. But I mean it still from the bottom of my heart. I do thank you guys for being involved and sharing your thoughts. And like I said, this was my vision for the show. When I started, it was going to be a forum of discussion. And because I know for me personally, I've learned more about paranormal stuff just from listening to people's accounts and, of course, their opinions. Like, you guys have already mentioned things tonight about the Ouija board that I had never considered, but it's very intriguing and very interesting to think about it. And so it's the power of conversation. It's like you can listen to me, but if you call and take part, we can learn together, I love hearing what you guys think and what you have to say. So thank you to the callers that have called. That's awesome. And the phone lines are always open here on the portal. Although as a bit of fair warning, for the next Saturday's show, I don't think we'll probably do the phone lines. I mean, it's it's only a 2-hour show, and I just want to use it to get as much information as we can on the show from Mr. Bear. So I don't know whether or not we're going to plug in the phone lines or not, or if we do, if we're going to be answering them. So just some fair warning about that, but it'll be a great show nonetheless. So all right, so there's no more callers on the board currently. So if you want to be calling, it's 213-233-3998, and we are simulcasting live to YouTube. And if you haven't already, head over there and subscribe to the channel. Like it and click that little bell, because then you get little notifications when we are doing a live stream. If you've been missing them, or if you want a reminder when we're doing them, that'll send you a notice. And if you're available, we'd love to have you paying attention, because we love attention. Who doesn't love attention, right? And Paranormal White Noise, how you doing? Good to see you in the YouTube chat. And Ian Two Feathers, I saw you were in there, and I don't know where you are now. Maybe you're just in the TFR chat, but good to see you, brother. I haven't seen you for a long time, but I hope everything's been great. And let's see, anybody else that I've missed? No, I don't think so. But of course, Don Longbeard is in the chat as well, and it's always a pleasure to see Don helping keep track of things. He makes my job easier. So we're going to continue into the stories then that we were covering, and I'll keep an eye on the... Oh, there we go. We do have another call. Oh, Miss Deb, you're on the air.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, how are you?
Good. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Deb Varner, our Paranormal Portal psychic, as well as good friend. So how you doing tonight? Everything going good?
Everything's going fantastic.
Excellent.
Go
ahead.
I don't have any Ouija board horror stories, but I am familiar with them.
Oh, good.
The first time I ever saw one, I was 12.
Uh-huh.
And the kids kept talking about, oh, well, this happened when we used it before, and that happened when we used it, and they went to use it, and it was really weird because nothing happened. And I have noticed times that I've been around when they pulled them out, they didn't do anything.
Oh, okay.
Well, we lived in a trailer park. One of the older teenagers, I think he was 18, decided to get some of the other teenagers together, including my kids.
Mm-hmm.
And they made a homemade Ouija board. They took a big piece of cardboard and drew everything on it and did everything. I mean, they went over exactly what they were supposed to do to get it to work, because he had been at a party and they had done it and it worked. And he was just so sure it was going to work. Well, bless his little heart, he didn't plan on me being there. And I was standing right out there where they were at. I had all my protection. I had my covering. And I silently did my little thing. And to their amazement, it didn't work.
Aww.
So the one that started everything, when he left and went home, I kind of told the other kids that they needed to just go ahead and burn it and be done with it.
Yeah.
So nobody else did it again. But
and that is a good point too.
Yeah.
I was going to mention that as well, and since you did mention it, ladies and gentlemen, there's no reason to feel like you have to buy one in a box. In fact, many people have claimed to have gotten really good results out of a homemade one, and so that stands to reason that if your energy goes into creating it as well, that it's more tuned to you when you're going to use it. Not that I'm advocating that, but I'm just putting that out there. That's something that I was going to mention on the front of the show, but I forgot. So thanks for helping me remember, Deb.
Oh, you're very welcome. Always happy to help.
Absolutely. So now you've got that expo going on down in your neck of the woods, huh?
Oh, yes. I'm going to it in the morning. I can't wait.
Okay.
If it's Mind, Body, Spirit Expo, if you have one that comes to your state anywhere close, if you're into becoming more enlightened about things, or you're very interested in different aspects of the psychic world, the paranormal world, the metaphysical. I suggest going and checking it out because it's really wonderful. I mean, gemstones, they have those for sale. Homemade wands, homemade pyramids. They have psychic readers that are there for you. There are some people that have beautiful clothes there, free-flowing. You feel like you've gone back into your hippie days, but the stuff is beautiful. It's wonderful. You know, the one I go to, they have one section that has Native American stuff. You can get dream catchers. You can get medicine wheels. They have your sage that you can get. They have all kinds of little things, jewelry and stuff. There are some people that have some beautiful, beautiful handmade jewelry. It is just, I'm in awe once I walk through the door. The energy that is in there, it is just unbelievable.
Are these do they tour around and go to different areas? Is that what it is, or is it just something in your area? Because
Yes,
I hadn't heard of this before.
Yes, they go to different areas.
Okay.
I can I'll let you know what it is, or we'll get it put on Paranormal Portal for anybody that might be interested in looking it up.
Sure.
Because you would have to look up the schedule for your area. It comes to Raleigh here in North Carolina twice a year. This is kind of like the first go round, and then we'll have another one. I think it's like early fall.
Okay. That'll be cool.
Yeah, I
if you've
love them.
it sounds really cool, and I'd love to be going with you, but I'm really excited for you, and I hope you have a really good time. And you'll be here next Friday.
I'm gonna try.
You'll be here next Friday.
Yes, I'm gonna try to get tomorrow so that I'm gonna put those up on my Facebook so people can see a little bit about what it's about and what goes on there. So.
Oh, cool. All right.
But yes, I will be there Friday.
Oh, I know you will. If I got to drag you on, you're here. No, I'm just kidding. All right. That's wonderful. It's great to hear from you, my lady. And have a great time tomorrow.
Okay, I will. And one more thing that I want to say.
Sure.
A lot of times when people have problems with the Ouija board, and myself, I don't believe in using them, but where the problems come in is we have, especially with the younger kids, the teenagers and stuff, they are just now awakening. They're just now coming into their gifts, and they don't realize it. And when they start messing with stuff like that, yes, there are negative spirits that can come through, and they use them to come through. So please, 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 unless you know what you're doing and you have someone around that understands and knows what's going on, please don't mess with them.
Yeah, well said. Very true. Okay. Well, thanks again for calling, and it's great talking to you, and I'll talk to you soon.
Alrighty.
All right.
Bye.
Okay, and we got another caller here, and this is call is coming from 205. You're on the air.
Hey, what's up? My name is Alex Bobby Lindsay. I'm from Spectral Wolfpack Paranormal.
Oh, outstanding, brother. Just to let you know, we're about 2 minutes out of break, so if we hit the break, just hang on the line and we'll pick it up on the other side.
All right, no worries. Some of my viewers had commented and said that I should call in.
Excellent.
I've been doing a lot more experimenting with the Ouija board lately.
Oh, wow.
And I definitely agree with the last caller about, definitely be careful when using them. Even if you have someone who knows what they're doing, things could still happen,
Yeah, exactly.
Bad things.
So, now, have you run into cases dealing with these things directly?
Oh, yeah. A lot of residential cases where the people are noticing a lot of shadow figures and a lot of like negative things going on in their life. I found a lot of times that there has been Ouija board sessions that have happened in the house. I don't think that's the only cause.
Sure. But it certainly is a symptom anyway. Yeah.
Also, yeah, there's certain locations I've investigated too where they've been doing a lot more Ouija sessions, and the shadow figure activity has increased like crazy.
Okay.
So I definitely think there's something to the Ouija board being a sort of portal to the darker entities. I think a lot of it comes from people's fear of it too.
Okay.
The fear fuels some of those entities.
Exactly, because a lot of dark energies, of course, feed from fear and negative emotion. So that's going to be like a buffet line if there's a lot of fear in the air as well. You're right. That's a good point.
Yeah. So I think that definitely increases it. But we've been using them more, doing some experiments with them.
Okay.
And last night was one of the craziest experiences that I've ever had in my life, I would say.
Well, if you're willing to share that, hold that thought, and we're going to go to break here, and it'll be just about a 2-minute break. So hang on the line, and when we come back, if you're willing to share that, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, I'll share some of it. It's a pretty long story, so I don't want
to
take up the whole time or anything, but I'll tell some of it.
All right. Sounds good, brother. Just hang on the line. And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to our last break of the night, and then we'll be back to hear more of this exciting tale. I can't wait. So stick around. We'll be right back.
Don't become dependent on the medical system. Get and stay healthy naturally with Extendivite. Metals in the liver cause peroxides to get dumped into the bloodstream. Peroxides do more damage than free radicals to the arteries, and the LDL has no protection from peroxide.
your protection from deception.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Paranormal Portal. I'm your host, Brent Thomas, and just thrilled you're here going through the evening with me. And it's been a great show so far. Lots of callers and audience participation, and this is just puts me in a real happy place. So I'm just thrilled, and we got a first-time caller on the air, and we're going to get back to him. Sir, I forgot your first name, or I didn't catch it when you called before. What was your first name?
My name's Alex.
Alex, okay. All right, great to meet you, Alex. And so you said you had one case that was really quite phenomenal, so I'll let you take the floor.
Well, so this wasn't even really a case. This was me and my girlfriend is a medium.
Oh, okay.
And when I met her, she wasn't very into the paranormal. She doesn't really like the things she sees, the vision she gets.
Mm-hmm.
The things that happened to her. But then she met me, a paranormal investigator. And so she's been around it a lot more since then. She hadn't played Ouija since she was a kid. And all of a sudden she kind of had the urge to play with me some, because I collect the boards myself. I have, some as old as the 40s.
Oh, wow.
And so on. I have about 7 or 8 boards. And so last night we decided to do a session. And things got pretty weird, because I should start this by saying a few weeks ago we were playing, and all of a sudden it was like her eyes got really wide. She wasn't talking. She was like grabbing at her throat.
Oh, no.
And when she came out of that, she told me that she felt like a spirit had gotten inside of her body and was like surprised that where it was. It was like really confused about where it was.
Oh, wow.
So last night we were playing on the board from the 1940s, and I believe that a very negative entity got inside of her.
Oh, no.
Because it was definitely very intense. But the gist of the story is she started doing really weird movements with her hands.
Oh.
And I saw her have one of the most sinister grins that I've ever seen.
Oh, man.
Ever.
Yikes. Oh.
It was if it wasn't me dealing with it, I feel like any regular person would have lost their they would have just lost it.
Yeah, probably.
Luckily, I have my prayer book, my spells, my prayers. I kind of blend my spirituality is like a blend of a lot of different things.
Sure.
I was raised Catholic, so I was instantly like, I know what I need to do.
Mm-hmm.
It took me about an hour and a half to get her back to herself.
Wow. Oh.
And it was intense. I think that kind of experience would definitely mess some people up.
Yeah, no question. That's terrifying.
I had never seen, I think the problem is that she doesn't fully understand her potential as a medium. And when whatever it was got inside, it was just able to take complete control.
Right. Yep.
And it was almost like, this is all just my opinion too. Like, you know, none of us really know.
Right. Exactly. I agree with you.
But in my opinion, they pulled her. Like her into like an astral plane,
mm-hmm.
and they took control of like what she was saying to me. They told me they wanted to kill me. They told me
Ooh.
that I was afraid of them.
Oh God.
And I told them, I stood my ground. I told them I'm not afraid of you. I looked her right in the eyes. Her eyes looked different. They looked
mm-hmm.
completely different than I've ever seen her look.
Wow.
And I told them I'm not afraid of you.
That's intense.
And, you know, I called upon St. Michael the Archangel.
mm-hmm.
I called upon Jesus. I called upon her grandfather's spirit.
Mm-hmm.
I felt he was there trying to help me.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And it took, like I said, an hour and a half praying, saging, mugwort, salt bath. Like, I tried everything.
Wow.
And slowly I could see that it was backing off, and that it really was afraid.
Mm-hmm.
So what I want to say is, if something like this does happen and you come across a negative entity,
mm-hmm.
you have to stand your ground. You can't show it any fear.
Amen, brother. I agree.
In my opinion.
You're absolutely correct. And I, you know, not only from you, but I've heard that for years from a lot of investigators that say, if you're firm and you stand your ground 90% of the time, that'll take care of the problem. Now there's the other 10% where you're dealing with something really dark and really nefarious, and it's going to take more than attitude. But for the most part, being firm and just claiming your space and is the key.
Yeah, and I mean, that's not saying they're not still going to affect your life in a negative way. Like, some people believe that these things can, you know, oppress your life.
Mm-hmm.
So all I can say is pray, use protection, protect yourself. And yeah, I don't recommend that everyone uses the boards.
Right.
But I personally, you know, I use them from time to time. I've been using them for several years.
Mm-hmm.
Since I was a kid, I'm only 27, but since I was probably 20, I've been using them more.
Okay.
But like it's trial and error for everything.
Well, it is. It's one of those things that you definitely don't want to get wrong, though. You know. So I mean, when you're doing that, you're setting up your state. You're setting up your stage, though, right? I mean, are you saging, and are you setting up, you know, crystals or candles or other things? You know, basically cleansing the atmosphere prior to starting. Do you practice those kind of things?
Yeah, yes, I do. And one mistake I made yesterday was that I didn't say a prayer before the session.
Okay.
I was going to, and then for some reason I didn't. And I think maybe that was the influence of them too. Like, they're just making me feel like I don't have to say a prayer before this session.
Sure.
Or something.
Yeah. You could very well be right. Yeah.
Another thing was that she had been doing tarot readings before, and I think she was already really open from doing that. And she was just, I mean, she's very open. Like, it sounds, I don't know,
sounds to me like she needs to really develop those gifts, though, you know, because with any sensitive person like that, that's like a beacon. That's a beacon of light that so many things are going to be drawn to, and so many things are going to find her just because of the light that she has, and because that switch is just on in her. And so that's, you know, very attractive to a lot of things, good and bad. I'm not saying that only negative things. I mean, there'll be spirits that'll be looking for her just because they need a voice. They need to be heard to share some piece of information or something. But, you know, of course, the negative things are very drawn to that. And so I think she should really develop that, because that's right. She's going to be, you know, always dealing with things finding her.
Yeah, I mean, we're still just learning about how deep her abilities can go, you know. So we're definitely looking into finding her, you know, a wise old medium to teach her about her abilities better. It's definitely real to me.
Well, brother, if you want to email me, I do know a few mediums around the country, and if you would email me your information, just your email address or something, and the location that you're at, email paranormalportalradio@gmail.com, all one word, Paranormal Portal Radio.
For sure.
And reach out to me, and I'll try to get you in touch with somebody in your area, or that can, at least get a hold of you by phone. I know I've had several offers from listeners to, if somebody needs help, they'd be glad to reach out to them. So if you don't mind, I would love to help you if that'd be okay.
No, definitely. I'm always, open-minded, open ears to hear everyone's opinions, theories, what everyone has to say. And I love learning from other people, so
absolutely,
I'll definitely do that.
Okay, that'll be fantastic. And thank you so much for calling in. It's great to have met you, and I hope to hear from you more.
Yeah, thanks, man.
All right, brother. You have a good night. Thanks again, and take care.
All right, you too.
Well, that's fantastic, ladies and gentlemen. I just love this. I'm in my happy place totally tonight. Last two shows have just been such marvelous participation, and this is just amazing. Thank you guys. You guys have just made this so fun. And don't get me wrong, I love doing the show either way. But it's so cool when I get a chance to meet you guys and talk to you guys and to share your thoughts and feelings and to share information. That is so awesome. That's amazing. So I'm going to be smiling all day tomorrow, and hopefully tomorrow night will be just as much fun. But I guess we got about 15 minutes left of the show, about 14 when you consider the exit music and all that. But let me grab another story here about another account of somebody that was using the Ouija board and see what happened to them. Hey guys, this story happened during my first year of college. My girlfriend oh, you know what, Ken? I forgot your story, by the way, so I hope you don't mind, but I'll get to your story tomorrow night. I do apologize. I'll read it right before the guest or something, so forgive me, Ken. That's from me reaching out to you. I do apologize. I didn't mean to miss that in the hustle and bustle, but I hope you understand. So again, hey guys, this story happened during my first year of college. My girlfriend, best friend, and I were getting really into ghosts hunting them for a while thereafter. I told them about the haunting of my parents' house. Actually, Ken, I might be able to get it in after this story, so hold on. So we bought an old Ouija board and decided it would be fun. We did learn the rules and how to use this board safely without opening any of the unwanted portals between our two worlds, which can happen. Yes, it can. Our first couple times testing it, nothing really happened. It was fun at parties, but really that was all we used it for. But a year later, we decided to do a session, just the three of us, in our apartment. We started talking to someone. His name was very hard to make out, but before this night, I couldn't really feel any force behind the movable planchette on the board. But that night, I remember feeling something there, guiding us to the letters. My friend had to use the bathroom, and it was just my girlfriend and I doing it. The planchette started to move quicker, spelling out specific dates and names. It said Carl and June 26, 2000 in the numbers, and then began spelling out car accident. My friend emerged from the bathroom, and we told him about the ghost named Carl and the date. My friend froze and started to cry, something I have never seen him do. He told us something both of us had no idea of. He said his father was named Carl, and he died when he was 11 on June... His father was named Carl, and he died when he was 11. Oh, the boy was 11. On June 26th, 2000. He was involved in a car accident. The planchette began to move again. It spelled out son. My friend couldn't do it any longer, and he had to walk away. But still, the planchette moved. It explained that he was watching over his son from the other side. Fast forward a couple months, we took the Ouija board to my parents' house. That has haunted me since I was a child. Yeah, I shared the story on here as well. Apparently, I didn't see that one, but I wanted clarification as to what was going on there. We set up in the basement living room, lights off, only the Ouija board and a camera filming us. The planchette started moving. It explained that there were eight spirits in the house. We asked how many were here standing around us right now. It responded 8. Our camera batteries died, drained of full power. So there we were with all the spirits, the good and the bad, watching us in the dark. I remember laughter coming from down the hall and quiet voices everywhere. We moved to the kitchen upstairs where one of the spirits told us about his trip to the house. He spelled out Mom, Phoenix 2007, follow. My mother took a trip to Phoenix, Arizona to visit her family in 2007. The planchette spelled out owner, white, whip. The house used to be a giant farm. Then the planchette spelled out revenge. After that, everything went quiet. We kept asking questions and finally received an answer of just go away. I have never heard the house so quiet. We checked back downstairs and heard nothing. The time was right around 2:30 a.m., and this went on for an hour. Until finally the house came back to life. We heard footsteps upstairs, low voices from downstairs. It was as if this man every night was getting revenge on this other spirit for what he did to him back when they were alive. That was the last time I was ever in that house as my parents moved out. Yeah, it's very wild stuff. Let me just look and see. Maybe we can do this. Maybe I can do it, Ken. I'll try. I'm going to try, brother. Okay. Let's see. Where are you? Okay. All right. This is I hope I can read this okay. G'day, Brent. Thought I'd send you my last UFO experience. I put this off as it still haunts me and makes me upset, even thinking about it. But I got to do it. It's a long story. 2 dogs, 2 UFOs, 2 swallowbirds. In 2004, I lived in a log cabin in a rural area. After 3 weeks living there, my Rottweiler I had for 8 years died in my arms from a heart attack. I remember you sharing that, Ken. Yeah. Got pulled over by police earlier that day and fined for unregistered car, even though I had a temporary permit. One cop had me buy her car, and the other policewoman gave my dog something to eat. I went to run over and said, "What was that?" She just gave my dog, and she threatened me with a gun to stay where I was. Later that night, he died of heart attack, and he had been poisoned by the cops. I was having big trouble set up and was harassed for 5 years by them because of trying to expose a cult I grew up with. Who they protect can't win against this cult, but I digress. After my best friend Floyd died, I had a friend and her daughter who adopted me as a dad gave me Floyd's puppy, Bonnie. She was a joy on Boxing Day in Australia, and that year she woke up howling like I never heard her howl for over 5 minutes at 11 a.m., the same time the horrific tsunami happened in Indonesia. Wow. At 8 a.m. she felt ill and never forget her howl that day. I ended up saving another son of Floyd not long after the best dogs you could ever have after going through hell with cult and cops. I found peace again. Police taking my car off-road, so I had to hitchhike 16 miles to town for shopping in town. I had a bad feeling my dogs were in trouble. I tried to get a lift home, and no success. I had to walk home for 4 hours while 100 cars never stopped to give me a lift. I got back late, ARVO. My dogs were gone, and window was wide open at log cabin, even though I'd locked it, searched for my dogs in my unregistered car, and walked through bush half the night. I did an outside barbecue, hoping they would smell me cooking and come back home. Middle of the night, was outside and depressed, looking down at the ground after calling dogs for hours. Suddenly, the whole ground turned red. I thought my eyes were stuffing up. I realized it was coming from the sky, and I looked up. There were 2 UFOs above me, massive. Each had a red orb, and that was pulsating, and both looked like ominous giant trains flying over. Colors were amazing. I only saw it for 30 seconds as it glided over, no sound. When it went over the horizon, I knew instantly both dogs were dead and felt they were in those UFOs. Early next morning, I found a few farmers who had heard 5 shots, high-powered rifles, on dirt road that goes to the river. I found a woman in the swamp who said she saw my dogs shot dead on the road, but she was too scared to stop the day before at 4:30 p.m. I found the pools of blood on the road and tire tracks real close to them, shot point blank close up because my dogs trusted people back then. The pollution and power in our area had put up a bounty on wild dogs, and Hunter's got $200 a dog because he owns 100,000 of acres of farmland. Same day, the sheriff turned up with another bodgy fine to pay from the bastard cops. I told him my dogs were just shot the night before and bodies taken, and he had the same thing happen to him, found his dogs dumped at a local tip. And a day later, people on farm across the road had their little staffy puppy go missing, taken from inside their house like mine were after falling asleep on slate floor in cabin. I was woken up early morning to my dog Bonnie licking my face. I wiped her slobber off my face. I went to pat her, totally forgetting she was gone, and she vanished in front of me. The days after, I didn't want to live. I just felt like I wanted to die. Lost 3 dogs I loved dearly in this short time. I sat outside the cabin, contemplating suicide, and a little swallow flew right up to me. A welcome swallow, black and tan, same color as my Rotties. He flew up to me and tapped me on my nose. Within a week, he was there each day, touching my nose as he flew past. He ended up bringing his girlfriend and making a nest in the eaves on cabin. They had 4 baby birds, black and tan. They all just fly up and touch my face with the tip of their wings. Those swallows saved my life after that tragedy and had befallen. All I can think now is that God sent me angels. The UFOs, I still don't know. Didn't feel evil, but just a sign. I shifted from there not long after, and I saw a ghost of a young girl that had lived there. I remember you sharing that story, Ken. When I first shifted in, she must have been warning me. She died 10 years before after all that. I went a bit nutty and posted posters everywhere in the area telling hunters what I thought of them. Got them shooting above my cabin each week as if they didn't have haven't done enough to me. After sneaking up to hunters and chasing them with, Mecattew, Mecettew, they stopped shooting at me. But I live only miles away to this day, so I can be close to my dogs. I don't have that harassment anymore as the cult got exposed, protecting scum and trying to set me up as a heretic. I am, anyway, to this day. I don't know why those 2 UFOs flew over me, or if my dogs were on board going to heaven. That's cool, Ken, and I'm sorry for that tragic period. That's so horrible, but you're a good man, and obviously we need you around, brother. So I'm glad you stuck it out. I'm glad you found those birds, or they found you. But you're right, it's a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing, brother. And my heart goes out to you. I've lost pets, never had them shot or anything, but I've just lost pets. And it's like losing a part of yourself every time. Like there's a new hole. But I don't know. I guess that's the one thing with life is it's a delicate thing. So, but thank you, brother. I appreciate you sending that in. And if you have something that you guys would like to share, any kind of story or account, please let me know. You can email it to paranormalportalradio@gmail.com and let me know, and I will certainly be happy to read it for you, and you can be identified or not. It's up to you. But I just love those stories. And Ken, a lot of times, will make little videos of them afterwards, too, which is really cool. And again, allegedly, there's a cartoon Ken is making about the Paranormal Portal, so we'll see about that. No pressure, Ken. No pressure at all. But we're down to about 2 minutes here on the portal. 2 minutes left. Wow. Time flies when you're having fun, ladies and gentlemen. But again, let's see, tomorrow night, Dan Pruitt will be joining us here in the portal. Don will be here with me, helping me keep the hatches all battened down, and we'll be, of course, simulcasting on YouTube as well as broadcasting on TFRlive.com, on iHeart, TuneIn, TalkStream, and yeah, between all of those, we're kind of everywhere. But hope you guys are here for that show, and hope you guys will take part in that show as well. It'll be fun to have them on. And if any of you guys want to be on the show as a guest, let me know. It's one of those things that you can either be a guest as a caller, or if you've got a lot of things to share and would like to have a show to do it, let me know. I'm not beyond that. It's just got to be interesting, of course. But you guys are all interesting anyway, so those are always options, ladies and gentlemen. But again, find us on YouTube if you haven't already. If you're hearing the sound of my voice but not seeing my face, then you're not on YouTube. So find us on YouTube, youtube.com/paranormalportal. And subscribe, like. We're trying to build that community over there. Build the portal over on YouTube. So, let me see. What else was it? Oh, Facebook, of course. I have a Twitter as well, and it's Paranormal Portal, Portl. So, at Paranormal Portal, Portl, not Portal, because there wasn't enough characters for the whole deal. So, I don't really use it much. So, if you would, follow me on Twitter, that's great. I'll try to get better at using it, actually, but it's been there for a while. I've got maybe 15 followers or something. Nothing too glorious, but then again, I don't put any energy into it either, so it's kind of my own fault, but it's there, and I will try to at least post show information over there for you guys as well. But that's it. That's the bell. So I guess we're done for tonight. I love you all dearly. Thanks again for all your participation and being a part of the show. And we'll be back tomorrow night at 10 p.m. with Dan Pruitt, Paranormal Investigator, here on the Paranormal Portal.
Hi everyone, it's Chris Gio here, founder of True Frequency Radio. It is with the deepest sorrow that I have to inform